This presentation is on personal cloud using Raspberry Pi. The purpose of this project is to create a personal cloud storage using Raspberry Pi. This cloud storage will only be used by us and the users we decide. A generic cloud storage device, for example Google Drive, has its own cloud storage device located at some other location. We log in into Google Drive and access our data, but the data is not stored in our system. Rather, it is stored in a Google's cloud storage device, which is in some other location. This project primarily focuses on creating a cloud storage for ourselves, which means the storage device will be near us. Not only will we accessing the data, we will also store our data by ourselves as well as own the cloud storage device. To an external hard drive is needed which will act as a cloud storage, and the Raspberry Pi, it is a device which is used for low computing operations. It will act as a server which will manage this cloud storage. Then we can access our data stored in this hard drive from anywhere around the world with any device which has internet enabled in it. The idea behind this project is based on cloud storage. Cloud storage is basically storing the data on a server which is in some other location rather than storing it in the device itself. To access data on cloud, all we need is internet connection on our devices. Some cloud storage devices, some cloud storage service providers like Dropbox, Google Drive, iCloud have servers in a location and we can access our data by putting our credentials. Cloud storage prevents users from carrying unnecessary storage devices. Buying these expensive storage devices and carrying them around becomes difficult for the users and it increases the risk of losing them. With cloud storage, users doesn't have to buy any expensive storage device and neither have to carry them around. With just our mobile or laptop, we can access our data stored on cloud with the internet enabled in it. Some merits of this project are that the external hard drive we use as cloud storage will only be used by us and the users we choose. Second is how much memory our cloud storage will have is decided by us. Depending upon the storage capacity of the external hard drive, we can choose accordingly. Third point is as the cloud storage is managed by us, so the data inside it is quite secure in the other cloud service providers. Like compared to other cloud service providers, our data is much more secured. So we have full control over our data. The last is that we don't have to carry our external hard drive around with us in order to access our data. The hard disk can be kept at our home safe and secure, and we can access our data stored in it with a mobile or PC which has internet in it. Some demerits of this project are that the devices involved in this are quite expensive. Raspberry Pi is a device which will be a server and it is expensive as well as external hard disk depending on the storage costs a lot, and sometimes a higher class SD card also costs a lot like class 10 SD card. Setting it up is a bit complex as many Linux commands are used in the entire process. First, we have to link own cloud with this Raspberry Pi, then link the hard drive with the Raspberry Pi, then link own cloud with the hard drive. The entire process of linking using some Linux commands consumes a lot of time. Sometimes hours get consumed, but the speeding of the process depends upon the hardware used. Each step involves complete attention as any wrong Linux command can disrupt the entire process. Linking should be done properly with each device. These are some challenges which we face if we rely on any generic cloud service provider. First one is that cloud service providers provide limited cloud storage which might not be sufficient for us. And if we want to use more memory, we have to pay an extra amount for extra storage. Second is that these cloud service providers are open to other users too, so security is less, as data is important depending upon different organizations. Some organizations might be storing some information about their customers which is highly confidential. Third is that these cloud service providers store our data in their servers, so they also have control over our data. Data integrity might be compromised in this case. Fourth one is that using these cloud service providers, this costs a lot. These services are expensive and still they control our data and put restrictions on our usage. So the proposed solution for this is that by creating our own cloud storage, the above mentioned problem, the challenges can be tackled. To create a cloud storage for ourselves, we need Raspberry Pi, which will act as a server, an SD card, which will act as a ROM for the Raspberry Pi, an external hard disk drive, which will be our cloud storage, and own cloud, which is a platform which which we can access our data stored in our hard disk. Through any device like mobile or laptop, we can log in into own cloud by putting our credentials. First, we have to install Raspbian OS in the Raspberry Pi. Then we have to install OwnCloud server on the Raspberry Pi. Then we have to mount the hard disk and then configure it with the Raspberry Pi and OwnCloud. After this, we have to open OwnCloud's website and put in our credentials. Then we can access our data which is in the external hard disk drive. These are some components used in this project. First one is the Raspberry Pi. It is a device which is used for low computing operations. As shown in the diagram, it's like a motherboard with various other components embedded in it. It has USB ports, HDMI ports, LAN ports, and a section for the micro SD card. In this device, Raspbian OS is installed, which is based on Linux OS. It has terminal just like Linux in which commands can be executed. It serves the purpose of a mini computer. In this project, it will be used as a server which will manage the cloud storage. Second component is a micro SD card. In this project, micro SD card will be treated as the ROM of the Raspberry Pi. Raspbian OS will be installed in the micro SD card and then we will put the SD card in the Raspberry Pi. We will need a minimum of 4 GB SD card of class 10 or above. The class of an SD card specifies the minimum writing speed of the SD card. In this project, we need at least class 10, which means the SD card has writing speed of 10 Mbps. The other component is an external hard drive. Here, an external hard disk drive will be treated as a cloud storage. Depending upon our need, we can choose 500 or 1 TB hard disk. Data on this hard disk will be accessed through OwnCloud. The procedure to set up the personal cloud storage is following. The first step is to install Raspbian OS into the micro SD card. Raspbian OS is the official operating system for all models of the Raspberry Pi. It is available for download. Use Raspberry Pi Imager for an easy way to install Raspbian to an SD card ready to use it with your Raspberry Pi. The second step is to download OwnCloud server into your Raspberry Pi. After the installation of the Raspbian OS through an HDMI cable, we will connect the Raspberry Pi with a screen like TV or a monitor. Then we will open the Raspbian OS. It is similar to that of Linux OS. With the use of Raspbian OS's terminal, we will install OwnCloud using some commands. Third step is to mount the external hard drive. After mounting is done, we have to link the hard drive with the OwnCloud server and the Raspberry Pi. These steps are important as linking the hard drive with the OwnCloud server will enable us to access our files from the internet. The fourth step is to enable SSI, which is server-side includes. Server-side includes are basically directives which are present on the web applications to provide HTML pages with dynamic contents. SSI are used to execute some actions before the current page is loaded or while the page is being visualized. So it is essential to enable for secure access. Fifth step is to enable port forwarding. If you want to access your cloud drive using your local network outside your local network, then you will need to set up port forwarding and make few changes to our configuration files. Sixth step is to set up own cloud account. To do this, enter your Raspberry Pi's IP address into your browser. After this, OwnCloud website opens. Enter your desired username and password. Then click on Storage and Database and enter your personal drive. Then click Finish. Let's understand through this image. So over here, the OwnCloud server is installed onto the Raspberry Pi. Then over here, the hard disk is being mounted and then it is being linked to the Raspberry Pi. And encryption is also done to secure the data. This also includes server-side includes of which we talked about in the previous slide. After linking the hard disk, the data stored in it can be viewed in OwnCloud through mobile or laptop, which will be created at the end of the process into OwnCloud account, which will be created at the end of the process.